It's Talk Erie on the Joel Natale Show. I'm flustered because I have a full house, but I'm excited for this conversation here. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State, also live on YouTube and Facebook. And I've gathered a gaggle of Republican candidates for the city of Erie elected offices. And let me introduce them to you. We'll go around the bend here. Yevet Anderson is with us. She is running for Erie City Council. Welcome, Yevet. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
We've got Matthew Thomas. He is running. He's the Democratic nominee for City of Erie Mayor. Matthew, good to see you again, sir.
Thank you. A Republican nominee. Thank you, Joel.
Did I say? Did I say Democrat?
That's all right.
Jeez. Okay. I hope that's not a Freudian slip, right? I mean. So these are. I'm sorry. These are all Republican nominees for their respective offices. I apologize if I got that wrong. Tina Hiotis. She is a Republican nominee for City Council. Good to see you, Tina.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. And we've got Anita Fay, again, a Republican nominee for Erie City Council. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Joel. Thank you for having us.
You got it here. All right. Let's go around the bend here. I'll start with you, Anita. And again, in a few words, what is driving you to run for Erie City Council?
The decline of everything from when I grew up, and it's heartbreaking. Seeing the homeless, our homeless vets, especially, that's one of my big things. And I'd like to repurpose a lot of the buildings through grants. And I would also like, because two family incomes, a lot of them cannot afford the garbage, water, and sewer bill together. And if you cannot pay all that together, you lose all three of those utilities.
Wow.
And I would like to see that garbage separated from that.
Okay. That's it. It's an interesting take. Let's go to you, Tina. Again, what's driving you to run for office?
Well, Erie is a beautiful, beautiful city with a rich history, and they're losing so many businesses, and as a result of that, losing population. I want to focus on bringing businesses and people back to Erie. Good paying jobs where people don't have to work two jobs. They can be at home more with their kids, which then will have outlying repercussions, because you'll be able to spend more time with your family. The children will be more occupied, and just see Erie grow and be prosperous again.
Matthew, again, we talked a bit about this in the primary, but again, what drove you to run for mayor?
Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit. You know, I'm a criminal defense attorney with about 450 cases a year. I really do want to see the crime cleaned up and taken care of in the city. I know Beth Herz's office puts a lot of work into that. As I said, last time I was on, there was a 17-year-old who was shot just two houses down from mine. Well, 2, 3, obviously bullets flying in my own neighborhood. That's a wake-up call. That was my decision point. I think, you look, there was another attempted stabbing up at the cathedral just the other day. That guy's now charged in New York, I believe, for murder. We were just talking about that before the show started. More recently, I noticed, we've had some issues. Looks like maybe the Erie Zoo is in jeopardy. Got to keep those jobs in the area. Once you lose a huge asset to the city like that, you can't just restart it in 4 or 5 years. Maybe the buildings are still there, but you can't let go of something like that. So I want to try to save that in terms of things that have been in the news recently. Get the city streets cleaned up in terms of trash. Maybe do a better job of paving city streets. Use some concrete instead of asphalt, so we're not constantly seeing these summer projects going on that are blocking everybody off. Leave it there. Turn it over.
Tina, excuse me, Yevet, again, what drives you to run for the city council?
Well, I'm born and raised in Erie, and I've been innovative in many activities here in the city. I started at 13 as an employee of the Erie Zoo and became assistant director 20 years later. I am seeing...
Did you run the ice rink?
I did.
Okay.
And the Civic Center and the Field House.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I'm one of the founders of Erie Hockey.
Right. I did know that. Yeah. So that makes sense.
But my thing is,
They don't call you the Ice Queen, right? I mean,
They call me, other things. Miss Zamboni.
Miss Sam. Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No, but it's,
I mean, again, you are beloved because hockey is in our DNA here.
oh, it
anyway.
is.
There's no doubt.
Trust me, all the way back to the Lions.
There you go.
But bottom line, I was approached by friends and colleagues of my involvement over 50 years in this city. And not a politician, but I want to see transparency. I want to see the ability of our people who are, quote, government public servants, key word there, public servant, taking care of our citizens. I want to tell you about the snowplows. You know, we had a marvelously bad winter, but typical of every 50 years here in Erie. Mm-hmm. Well, we have plows in this city with side plows, but we don't use them except in certain areas. We charge you for that recycling can, which we don't recycle, and we throw everything on half of your yard and in the street, and we have to buy a new can. Where is the accountability? We need to bring back the city to the people. It's about the residents of Erie. We were, and could be again, the #1 shipbuilding city in the U.S. Yep. We are the only port that goes all the way from the St. Lawrence to the Mississippi River. Do we realize with our history, quote, in the Battle of 1812, those ships were built in Erie?
Sure.
What if they had not been? Mm-hmm. We need to take back the integrity of our city and realize that, yes, we have number 5 beautiful sunset according to National Geographic, but that is nothing if it rains and snows all season. Right. We need industry. We need to keep our young people that are graduating from our universities, and we have numerous ones, get them jobs here in Erie.
Let me click off some of the things that I'm just hearing you guys that you're saying that are predominant issues facing the city. I'm hearing population loss. I'm hearing brain drain, like you were saying, the young people that are getting educated and leaving. Transparency and accountability. Crime is what Matthew mentioned here. What is within the scope, though, of what a city council person or a mayor could do? Because you know, let's face it here. Well, let's get started with like population loss. I've got a pen by the mayor, and one of his goals was to increase the scope of population 10,000 by 2030. We're still in decline by the latest elements here. Right. So even when you're putting a lot of attention to it, what are some strong ideas to increase population? Go ahead, Tina. Yeah.
Well, one of those is marketing Erie nationwide. We need a new nationwide platform that markets Erie as a choice destination, not only for people wanting to go to school, but for businesses. And we need to target specific industries like manufacturing, oil, gas, energy, shipbuilding, maritime. We get these businesses back in here, we are going to bring along with it the people that have to be employed there.
So you're feeling that the current approaches, that whether it's the Erie County Redevelopment Authority or what the what Chris Groner's doing, or what Brenton Davis and his team in economic development are doing, are not up to the task?
I think it needs to be refocused and redefined, and we need to target specific industries. Me, myself, I went out as an independent, everyday citizen, found 4 businesses that are looking to relocate, that have not decided where they're going to move, and we're talking things like Johnson & Johnson. Why are we not actively putting together something that's going to market our city to them, to say, this is why you choose us. This is why you come to Erie. This is what Erie can do for your company and what you can do for the citizens and our city.
Who else has ideas about population loss? Anita, do you have something to contribute there?
I think Matthew.
Matthew? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, no, I mean, and we need to, so we need to do some of those things, or maybe all of them, but we also need to make sure that the city has an ideal business environment, which then, gives those businesses real reasons to come in. So I want to get rid of the cost of doing business tax. I think that once you reduce, taxes, that's going to encourage businesses, because those businesses are paying $50+ for each and every employee, or alternately, people who start businesses or who are independent contractors have to pay that fee for themselves. So I think that we can get rid of the cost of doing business tax. We can lower regulations for businesses that want to come in, many of which are controlled by the city. And there are other things that are controlled by the city with regard to the crime issue as well, and we can get into that. But we need to lower taxes, we need to lower businesses, and our opponents on the other side, both the city council members and the mayoral candidate, who have been saying, oh, no, we need more nonprofits. I know we've all talked about this before, but those nonprofits don't pay taxes. And that means that instead, that tax burden is transferred to every individual in terms of their property tax. It is transferred to the actual businesses in the city that are providing long-term jobs, not just things that are funded by grants. And that's one of the primary things, in addition to the horrible, horrible schools. That is one of the biggest things that contributes to population decline. Everyone moves out into the county. All the young couples that I've seen that are doing it said, we're doing it because of the schools, and we're doing it because of the property taxes. Everybody I talk to.
Let me push back a little bit and just kind of get your reaction to this thought that companies chase workforce. And so I think, to your point, Matthew, the school thing is hugely important. We just got a community college started, for workforce training, but we got to have the educated workers so that companies could chase after them. They want to go in a place where, hey, if I need 50 welders, I've got them there. It's a different mindset versus, if we just recruit, they will come. We've got to make sure we have the people here for them to work it. Go ahead, team.
And that's another one of the things is youth opportunities. We need to start targeting these kids when they're in 8th grade, 9th grade, when they start forming what they want to do with their life and what direction and career path they want to go, and start pairing these kids up with businesses and schools to train them, whether it be a college degree or a trade like welding, electrician, plumbing. And then you can tie those type of things into other areas within the government as well, like the elderly, disabled, low-income families that have problems upkeeping their yard, weatherizing their homes. And you can tie those things in with the schooling and the teaching and the apprenticeships with those type of trades. And it's a win-win.
I appreciate that. We got to go to our first break here. It's 20 after 4. We're talking to Republican nominees for both city council and the mayor's race in the city of Erie. Great conversation. Stay with us. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're talking to, these are nominees. These folks are all on the ballot in the city of Erie with an R next to their name. We've got with us Yevet Anderson. She's a Republican nominee for City Council. Matthew Thomas, Republican nominee for Erie City Mayor. Tina Hiotis, again, City Council, Republican nominee. And Anita Fay, Republican nominee for Erie City Council. All right. Let's stay with jobs here a second here, because I think Matthew's point is well taken, again, about the workforce and about the schools. I'm just trying to get my arms around the limited power that sits at City Hall. And so are you advocating that your role should be as an opinion leader, or even maybe using the bully pulpit to do things, or having a better relationship with the school district to kind of force change or something like that? Want to weigh in on that?
Well, I taught in Erie.
Yeah.
I taught at Mercyhurst. I taught special education programs. And we have to look at a bunch of other things. You said the bully process and some other things.
Yeah.
Well, we want to keep people in Erie. We want to build the population. What do you think about the home rule charter they're trying to push through?
Yeah. Right. And again, that looks like a big tax bill that could be waiting, because they want to raise the income tax, right?
Everything. See, what people don't understand, I've talked to a lot of people about it, including business colleagues of mine. People think, we can rule ourselves. No, that's not what it means. The state has control on how much your taxes can be raised. If we eliminate that, there will be carte blanche. And they are talking. I was at a meeting. I listened to them. They were talking about, we should have a land tax on top of property tax. We are the number 4 poverty city with the income of $40,000 for a family of 4. We need to have an occupational tax. If you work in Erie but you don't live in Erie, you will pay, they were saying, around 5.7%. Whoa. The other thing was, how about a living in Erie tax? They want to charge 1.5%, suggested, to live in the city of Erie. And then there's a thing called Grizz.
The Grizz, yeah.
Say you own that. I love the little catfish shop down by Perry Square.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites.
Sure.
Okay, so say we have 5 big events that weekend down there, and you made $500. You're a small business. No, the suggestion is you are charged on your potential income. What's that going to do to keep businesses in Erie? Keep people in Erie who can afford it. And now we are number 7 for the worst place for retirees and elderly to live.
Wow, that's
And those retirees, if I could just very briefly
go ahead,
jump,
pull in. Yeah.
If I could just very briefly jump in, those older retirees, having worked their whole lives, often those are the individuals who both at this point have money and are in a frame of mind to spend it. So if we lose them,
right? Yeah, you have that situation where you have people on a fixed income. That's one element, but then a lot of retirees are actually, they're living their pretty large lives, and we want to be attractive for them.
I mean, God bless Florida, but if we lose them to Florida,
Right.
And I came from Florida to here, and that's what we got to do. You got to market Erie the same way, for the same reasons that brought someone who's living where most people from Pennsylvania go to retire. I did the opposite and came to Erie.
I mean,
so are you hearing any of these issues, the conclusions that you have from the current council? Are you hearing this point of view, or even have you had a conversation with folks on council about some of these concerns? Anita, weigh in on that. Yeah.
None of them have spoken with us. I have not heard them any issues that are a concern for all the citizens in Erie. I mean, I go around door to door. I talk to people. And the east side, I mean, they're pretty upset. I'm sorry, but everything is so focused on State Street and to the west. The east side kids they need more over there. We want these kids involved in things to help them.
Do you feel that, I mean, again, some of the efforts, I hear a lot about the police athletic lead, for example. 1,000 children are involved with that, with officers from, now it's not even just Erie, but Mill Creek's getting involved as well. I mean, these have got to be positive steps, right?
Yeah, everywhere else but the east side, the lower east side of Erie. These kids are left behind. They hardly have anything, any involvement, engagement, and more needs to happen for them.
And if I may, just very briefly, so you're right. There's very little conversation. You're absolutely, and I think I agree with pretty much what everyone has said so far. But the other thing is that conversation has been had over the last 50, 60 years. The city has been utterly ruled by Democrats since 1965. So if anything was going to change by electing another politician, I don't like to play party politics.
Right.
I'm not that type of guy. You know, lots of friends on both sides of the aisle, you know, but at the end of the day, if something was going to change by electing the same party, it would have changed. And the things like the police, you know, getting involved with the youth, hey, that's awesome. But crime is still sky high in the city. It's getting worse. There are more murders. There are more shootings.
I'm
every
actually
single
hearing
year.
I'm hearing something different from the chief of police, that violent crime is down, actually, Matthew.
Well, by what measure?
But, you know,
I mean-
in recent history, over the last 5 years or so.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know what measure he's using. The caseload of the public defender's office rises every single year. The county has 4,000 criminal cases every year, and practically every single case that, I shouldn't say every single one, but like half the cases that come across my desk now are felonies. They're not misdemeanors. They're not little marijuana crimes, even though that has clearly become a gateway drug that is almost always laced with fentanyl when it's out on the streets, and we're not cleaning it up. There's open drug use in places like Perry Square. Anyone, especially young women who are, you know, want to like walk the street at night and be safe, I would like to know by whose measure and by what statistic crime is going down.
All right. We've got to take our bottom of the hour news break here. Fascinating conversation. Again, these are Republican nominees for both City Council and the City of Erie Mayor in the Republican prime or Republican on the Republican side for the general election here. Stay with us. More ahead with Yvette, Matthew, Tina, and Anita here on Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State, also live on Facebook and YouTube. We're talking to the Republican nominees, many of them here from, they're nominated for Erie City Council, also for the City of Erie Mayor. And to my left, Yevet Anderson. Again, she's a Republican nominee for Erie City Council. Matthew Thomas, he's the Republican nominee for Erie City Mayor. Tina Hiotis, she is the Republican nominee for Erie City Council. And Anita Fay, Republican nominee for Erie City Council. All right, I want to get into a couple more issues, and then we're going to talk strategy here. Let's talk about blight and keeping housing affordable. And I would love to hear some specific plans as you've researched them or you've come up with. I mean, blight is a real issue here. If you remember, the last time we've had a real serious mayoral candidate, it was John Persinger, and he ran on blight. And so what are some of your thoughts on housing and blight? Tina, you want to start?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, we do have a very bad issue with that, especially on the Lower East Side where I live, off of the East 14th and Parade area. A lot of vacant buildings that are dilapidated, vacant homes that are being squatted in and then set on fire, arson. Every day you hear of a house being burned down that's vacant. And we do need to do something about that. And we need to have a revitalization or looking into how the current policies are set up to do the
I mean, we have
properties.
the Erie City Redevelopment Authority, but they only kind of tackle a few, maybe a couple dozen homes a year. You also have Erie's Erie East Side Renaissance, right
down the road from my house. Yes.
But in the neighborhoods like our West Bayfront, they do a little of that. It seems like it's a money thing, doesn't it?
It is, and that's one of the things that I could help is. I am a veteran. I am a retired nurse. What I do now is I help companies get government contracts and grants. So having someone on city council that has grant writing experience, has experience talking to these billion-dollar companies about how they work with the government and how they can benefit each other, I think it's going to be something that's going to be tremendous. And when it comes to the revitalization, like I said, part of it can be tackled with the trade schools and things like that. Some of these areas of revitalization that needs to be done before these houses get so bad.
Yeah.
Step in and do
Maybe fix the
projects
small stuff
first.
Yeah.
And
It's a little bit like Love Your Block, but there's so little money involved.
And
right
grants
now.
can do that.
Grants
But the
can
thing
help.
is, you have to be proactive. And if you have a project in mind, you have to strategize that way before you want to implement it.
Sure. Who else wants to weigh in on this blight or housing thing? Go ahead, Anita.
Like Tina said, she has experience to get grants, and I want to repurpose. We've gone around, and there are so many buildings left unattended, and I believe quite a few of them could be repurposed.
Yeah.
For our homeless vets, for our homeless. I forgot where I was going.
Okay. Matt, you want to jump in, Matthew?
No, I think you had a good point though, and the thing is too, and we were just talking about what steps are actually within the purview of City Hall.
Right.
For one thing, ordinance enforcement, where you have blight,
Yep.
where you have whether it's a large building that a business has essentially neglected and is now. Thank goodness we're finally getting a little bit done with 12th Street, which is the route a lot of people, myself included, take to work every day. But if you have a home, especially if it's owned by a landlord where the yard, is a mess, the roof is falling in, City Hall actually does have the power to not only enforce ordinance, to enforce the code and deal with ordinance violations, but even, and I would argue, to raise the penalties. That having been said, and the same thing, by the way, should go for littering. I think that, where you see all this trash all around the city, especially in some of these more dilapidated neighborhoods, I honestly think that we ought to consider massively raising the penalty for littering in the city, because there's absolutely no reason why trash should go anywhere other than the trash, or alternately the recycling. And the thing is, the other aspect of that is too, and just going back to the population decline, which, as I said the last time I was on here, is about 8,300 people per decade. We're looking at being the 8th largest city in Pennsylvania in 30 years, and that rate has been steady, and it has, for the most part, except that it has accelerated in the last few years. Where you have that kind of massive population decline caused by the Democratic leadership of this city, for all the reasons that we've all stated, there's going to be blight. Eventually, you can't keep up with the number of houses that are falling empty.
Let me ask you on the building side, because what I hear is we're not building enough. So for that entry level affordable housing piece, people aren't able to buy a home. Like you can't. Yeah, I mean, homes are the homes that are even under $200,000 need another 50 to 100 grand worth of work. I mean, it's quite a dilemma. Let me throw this out at you. Would you advocate looking at the zoning? And say, hey, maybe we have too much R1. Maybe we need to do a little more multifamily or a little more condo type action.
And I do want to say, and I want to let you go because I know you're going to be awesome, but I want to say one more thing on that. People can't afford homes. Help them get better jobs. Go.
Right, absolutely. And if we had, over the years, enforced the codes, followed up on it, we wouldn't be in this deep of a hole. And that's what I'm going to call it, a hole. And then I have heard this, and I had a lovely conversation by accident yesterday with a local minister in the East Side in a Baptist church. And he said to me, you know, what I don't understand is, why do we pick and choose? And he was talking about code. Why are we picking and choosing which groups where have to clean up their property? And he was referring to businesses. Take a ride down Parade Street. Yeah. I'm sorry. I had a business. I didn't leave my dumpster full. I didn't leave a year and a half of pallets rotting with vermin living under them. I didn't leave my trash out decaying on the side of the building. But we have to be politically correct because we can't talk to people about that. But as this gentleman said, isn't it interesting that all of a sudden the mayor, who's not going to make it, I mean, he didn't make it to the election, all of a sudden is sending code out.
Yeah. We went multiple years with very little code enforcement. All right, I've got less than 10 minutes, and I want to get to how does this work. Okay, so. Let's talk strategy and how you win. Okay, so I want to start with the current registration numbers here, and I literally got these from the election office today. So thank you, Sue, for helping me out here. Here are the numbers for registered voters by party in Erie City. Democrat 31,147, Republican 13,909, Independent 566. Not noted is close to because those three total to 45,622, but the total number of registered voters in Erie City is 54,543. So a little bit under 9,000 don't even have any registration as far as a party. So when you're dealing with nearly a 3-to-1 ratio, what's your strategy? How do you move the needle? How do you become the first either mayor since Charles Williamson 1965 or the first city council person with a vote since Denise Robinson in the 90s there?
You meet them where they live.
Okay, so tell me about that.
You meet them where they live. You meet them where they play. You get out, you talk to them, and you ask them, what has your city done for you? What has your current elected officials done for you? Have they made your life better? And if you honestly can answer that and say they have, then more power to you. But 9 out of 10 people we speak to all say that the city has done nothing to help them live a better life on a daily basis.
So is there a strategy here, though? Do you go to super voters that are Republican, or can you weed off some of
You go
the
to
middle
no,
of the Democrats? Talk about it.
Well,
No.
I'll tell you what I'm finding out.
Yeah.
The diehard, and this is ironic because Lou Tullio was my uncle.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. And he would be looking down right now and going, what happened to the people? Why are we not taking care of the people? I have been talking to some die-hard Democrats.
Yep.
They've had it. Now, do they really want to change their... What I'm hearing is, well, we're a sixth-generation Democrat. But they're voting leaning Republican
Yeah.
because they have had it.
That is
They
correct.
have
That's
had
exactly
it.
what we're being
and you
told.
don't... I mean, it's great to flip red. However... You could still be a Democrat and flip
vote.
red by voting for the right people. We got to stop the apathy.
And I will say too, some of these ladies here are being a little bit too modest about this. They have been going out every single day. They have been flipping or registering or both. I think it's fair to say thousands of people. I think because it takes a few weeks to update. I think those numbers that you cited, I appreciate them. I think they're probably a little bit behind.
And there's I'm sorry, Matt.
No, go
but
ahead.
there's this how they have that in there. A lot of the Democrats, they may not switch how they're registered, but they are voting Republican. I go door to door. I talk to a lot of people. I mean, even me and Tina go out and around, getting an ice cream cone one night. And I got tapped on the back of my shoulder because I was wearing my Flip Erie red shirt, Vote Fay. Well, this foreign lady, sweetheart, tapped me on the shoulder, asking me how I say my name. Well, I'm not going to say her name, but
Right.
but anyhow, she's never voted, and I signed her up right then and there.
Wow.
And her husband, he didn't have his card on him, or he was going to sign up. And then her cousin also. I mean, yeah.
Well,
it's
it's super interesting that even when you look at the Democratic race in the spring, the Ms. Devlin was chosen by, a very small percentage of the electorate for the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a municipal election, whether we like it or not, turnout is not great.
Exactly.
So, again, but that takes money to get turnout. I have a question here. Are you getting help
Yes.
from the state and county GOP?
Well, so I'm just going to say this. Other people can elaborate if they choose, but I'm going to say the name Scott Pressler.
Okay, sure.
For those out there who know who he is investing in Erie, in Pennsylvania, in these current races that we're having right now. The goal is to flip the first Erie and then the entire state of Pennsylvania at least as red as Ohio is. So it's going to be a permanent, red wave here in every single election. Also, and I want to bring this out. If you are out there, so it is partly on us, but we are 4 people sitting here. We're just 4 people. We have an army of, I think it's fair to say, about 300 plus volunteers. But ultimately, on election day in November, it is on you. If you like what you hear, it is on you to grab a friend. Don't want you to commit a crime, but drag them to the polls. It is your responsibility to remind everyone that would have voted for a Republican, or even just for these kind of issues in a presidential election, in a Senate election. Say, yeah, it's an off-year election, but you've got to come. If you do that, if you bring everybody things are going to change. If you don't, they won't.
And again, with all due respect, I'm just trying to understand. John Persinger got the closest
He did.
to defeating a Democratic mayor in my lifetime, and he was still 6 points behind. Right. And he was well heeled. He had money coming from. He really had a lot of money coming from the county, right? A lot of those supporters for Persinger were in Fairview and in Edinburgh and so on. Will it take cash. Will there be the resources for you to get that name, to vote Fay or to vote Hiotis or Thomas or Anderson?
Well, we always need money. Elections and campaigns take money. So, of course, anyone that's willing to donate, we're going to take it. But you also have people like Turning Point that is coming into Erie and into Pennsylvania.
For the municipal election?
For the municipal
Yes.
election.
Oh, wow.
Turning Point is
Yes.
joining us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Charlie
That's
Kirk.
Charlie Kirk, yeah.
Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
All right, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go down the row here and just concisely make a case to support your candidacy. So this is Anita Fay. She is a Republican nominee for Erie City Council.
Well, like I said, I want to repurpose buildings for our veterans, our homeless. We do need special hospitals also. And I want something happening for our children on the Lower East Side. Things need to start coming together. These kids need help. These families need help.
Go ahead. Again, this is Tina Hiotis. She is a Republican nominee for Erie City Council.
Well, first of all, as I said, I am a veteran and I am a proven leader. And for me, Erie deserves better, and it's all about the O's. It's about opportunity. Opportunity for economic growth and jobs, opportunities for our youth, opportunities for safe, affordable housing for everybody, not just the lower class, not just for the chosen few, but anyone who's out there that needs it, who's willing to invest in our city. And if that's something that you can stand behind, then I hope I earn your support and your vote.
I'm going to jump and go to Yevet Anderson, again, our third Republican nominee for Erie City Council out of the four.
Well, I agree with everything that's been said, but people that know me in this city know my integrity and they know my commitment to getting things done for youth, for adults, for seniors, for veterans. And I'm not running on my past, but I'm running on the potential of continuing what I have set forth and bringing back the things that this last 62 years have taken away, such as Roar on the Shore out of greed. Look what's happening to tall ships. I want our, not my Erie, our Erie, and our is the people. The people need to be heard and not afraid to stand up.
Finally, Matthew Thomas, the Republican nominee for Erie City Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, as an attorney with quite a bit of experience in the criminal field, with quite a bit of experience actually even working in immigration law, if there are, and we didn't hit on this as much this time, I know we did in the last interview, if there are people who are in the city who are not citizens here and they are committing crimes, they are going to leave. They are going to be reported to ICE. If there are people out in our streets and in our parks who are doing drugs or committing crimes in general, especially violent crimes, I'm going to order the City of Erie Police to do absolutely everything they can. We're not dropping stuff at preliminary hearings. We're doing everything we can to work with the district attorney's office to get criminals off the streets. And we're going to make Erie a business-friendly environment, and businesses are going to be begging to come back here. You're going to be amazed at what you see in your city.
We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your generosity of time and your candor. Again, Republican nominees for Erie City Mayor, Matthew Thomas, and for Erie City Council, Yevet Anderson, Tina Hiotis, and Anita Fay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very, very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You got it. It's 4:53. Talk Erie.